My people, welcome back to my channel. Nothing we will not hear in this country. Senate committee exposes NNPCL. Summoned the former boss, Kyari, to come and explain a whole lot of money that develop wins and fly away, and some accounts that refuse to balance. Asking him how can they use 5 billion naira to change name from NNPC to NNPCL. 5 billion. According to the committee, as of December 2023, NNPCL recorded 107 trillion as sundry receivable, which they claimed that part of it was owned by defamed banks and other entities. And still, the NNPCL was unable to provide a clear breakdown or identifying the banks or other entities that they claim the money came from. So the committee is now saying that this is unacceptable, that they need to be transparent, show record, show workings. This is account. They need to balance it, show how every money came and how it came from. They also raised the issue of alleged duplication of subsidy costs. The committee alleged that they deducted money twice in two different places. First, they deducted subsidy costs from crude oil proceeds in the book of Nappings, and still went to the book of NNPCL and deducted petroleum product proceeds amounting to 3.8 trillion. Hey, this is who are they even fooling? You know, let me explain something here to you people. Nappings is a subsidiary company of NNPCL. Therefore, they cannot have a separate account. So their account is the same. One account, they are operating on one account. Even the man there mentioned it, that we should also know that Nappings, as the subsidiary of NNPC, cannot have his own separate account from NNPCL. So how can you now tell me they deducted one money from NNPCL for petroleum products? They now went to Napping's account and deduct for crude oil. Is it not the one account? That's duplication of subsidy that they are alleging for. This is too much fraud going on in NNPC, my goodness. They also mentioned production costs. How NNPC and Nappings admitted charging 5 trillion naira as direct production costs between 2017 and 2021. Hey, how can they charge production costs whereas NNPC and Nappings do not produce crude oil? This is too much. How can you be charging production costs over something you're not producing? Allegations are too much. They are just busy diverting funds here and there. Look at the amount they are calling. Everything is in trillion. The committee went further and gave their conditions. Summoned Kyari and his team that he worked with when he was the boss of NNPCL to come and balance some accounts and answer some of their questions. My people, please watch the video.
As of December 2023, NNPCL recorded 107 trillion as sundry receivables, which it claims part of it was owed by some defunct banks and other entities. However, the company, NNPCL, was unable to provide a clear breakdown identifying the banks, whether defunct or not, or other entities responsible for the amounts comprising this sum, which were never mentioned in the audited financial statement. This is also unacceptable. So the figure 107 still lingers on NNPCL. Alleged duplication of subsidy cost. The committee observed apparent duplication of subsidy deductions against the revenue due to the Federation. Subsidy costs were deducted from crude oil proceeds in the books of Nappings, and also from the petroleum product proceeds in the books of NNPCL, amounting to 3.8 trillion. Again, it is worthy of note that Nappings as a subsidiary of NNPC, cannot have its own separate accounts from NNPC. Item 4, direct production cost. NNPCL/NAPIMS admitted charging 5 trillion naira as direct production cost between 2017 and 2021. Whereas NNPC and NAPIMS do not produce crude, thus diverting funds through over-bloated illegal cost charge against crude oil revenue. This is also unacceptable. So the figure also stands lingering on NNPC. Incorporation expenses. NNPC paid 2.9 billion for incorporation expenses from petroleum product proceeds, while NAPIMS charged 2.9 billion as well against crude oil revenue for the same purpose. This resulted in a combined total amount of 5.9 billion being expended for incorporation by NNPCL just to change the name from NNPC to NNPCL, which is unacceptable and rejected. So that means 5 billion naira is also lingering on NNPC in this day and age. Who will comprehend such a figure to be expended just to change name of NNPC incorporation from NNPC to NNPCL? 5 billion naira. In view of the aforementioned, in view of the inability of the current management of NNPC to provide satisfactory explanations regarding the identified infractions in the audited financial statements from 2017 to 2023, the committee resolves as follows: that NNPC should refund the sum of 210 trillion, being the combined sum of 103 trillion and 107 trillion, which were not properly explained to the committee, as the aggregate sum cannot be netted off in tandem with accounting principles. That because under ideal accounting principle, it would have been liability subtracted from asset. But in this case, the liability figure is unacceptable to the committee because of the contradictions in the explanations, and also the asset figure, which is the accrued receivables, 107 trillion, is also not acceptable as well to the committee. So NNPC should and must account for the two figures. Then the two figures put together make up 210 trillion. The second resolution of the committee, that the NNPCL should refund to Treasury all production costs charged against crude oil revenue for the period under review, since the NNPC and its subsidiaries, NAPIMS and Co., do not directly produce crude oil. 3. To invite the immediate past management of NNPC and NAPIMS and their auditors to be laid by the present NNPCL management to provide clearer explanations regarding how these infractions happened, which will further enable the committee to take measures that will forestall future occurrences in the management of public funds. Immediate management of NNPC and NAPIMS, here what we are saying, immediate past management is, of course, Kyari, as the Group Managing Director, Umar Ajia as the Chief Financial Officer, and Bala Wunti as the then GGM Nappings, should and must appear before the committee and to be laid by the present management with the entire body of the external auditors that served within the period under review that put together this. 4. That the Auditor General for the Federation should carry out forensic audit review of the audited financial statements of the NNPC for the period under review in line with Section 85 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Conclusion. The committee will, in furtherance to the exercise of its constitutional and legislative mandate, continue to engage with relevant bodies, both public and corporate, including the media, to enhance improved public fund generation and utilization for the attainment of good governance and infrastructural growth of the nation. The committee, finally, the committee and the Senate reaffirms its legislative support to Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, in his quest for a financially robust economy through the renewed Hope Governance agenda. Thank you.
But how can we have this kind of amount of money unaccounted for? And Mr. President is warming up to tax the innocent citizen who is experiencing the harsh economic situation, while we have billions, trillions flying up and down, flying to the wind, unaccounted for. Instead of to block these loopholes of where these monies are going, first of all, you remove subsidy. You did not even tackle the fraud in subsidy. You just rush ahead and remove subsidy without tackling the mismanagement and the fraud going on in the NNPC and subsidy. You just remove subsidy without solving the issues of the subsidy. You can imagine where they are double charging subsidy. They are duplicating subsidy. Charge production, they charge for crude oil twice. In the books of nappings, they charge for crude oil subsidy. They went back on the NNPC books again, they charge for crude oil again. They charge for petroleum products again. That's double. They want to tax the innocent citizen, while there is billions of money going up and down. This is only for NNPC. There are other sectors. Electricity. In fact, if you hear what is happening in the power sector, why we can't have steady lights, you put your hand in your head. In fact, you cry for this country. Because with what I'm seeing here, we don't even have any business of borrowing. Because if all these kind of trillions will be going into thin air with no one holding accountable, if not that Senate committee has already summoned Kyari now to come and answer for all these things, because these things happen under his tenure. And people, please let me know what you think in the comment section, because this is so heartbreaking to even say the least. Please subscribe to our channel, like, and thanks for watching. Bye.